The landscape for crowdfunding platforms are changing all the time. What makes sense right now to choose as a crowdfunding platform for you to fund your idea, business, startup, whatever, could be the right one right now, but it could be another one tomorrow because things are changing all the time. So you should really do your own due diligence in order to choose the right platform for you. In Luggage Hero, we chose Seedrs as the platform to go to. And Seedrs was the right platform for us because Seedrs has really good foothold on all European startups and all the European investors. And they're situated in the UK. And the UK market was a really important market for us in the beginning. And to get a closer relationship to our investors as close as possible, we chose Seedrs as our platform. And that might very well not be the case for you. So you need to do your own due diligence in order to choose the right platform for your company to grow and fund. One thing that you should be in particularly very focused on is when you do your due diligence on the crowdfunding platforms, keep an eye out for what we call enterprise investments tax reliefs. And this EIS, which is the short of what I just said, is actually a way of getting tax relief when you invest in a company. And this has an enormous effect on the chances of your success when you crowdfund. Because if your company is not liable as an EIS company on a platform, the investors investing into your company will not get the tax relief. I'm not trying to complicate this too much. I'm just saying, when you look over the deals on, take Crowdcube as an example, or take Seedrs as an example, you see a small note saying EIS. This means that this company will give tax reliefs for all the investments in that company. And that could be a tell for you that this campaign is more successful than your campaign might be if you are not an EIS certified company. You can become an EIS certified company if your business is registered in the company in the same country as your business is operating in. So in the example with Luggage Hero, we chose Seedrs as the platform to crowdfund on, but we chose not to be EIS certified. And we got that question a lot from investors. They ended up investing anyway, but I'm just saying this as a disclaimer for you when you do your due diligence on the different platforms to make sure that you're not blinded by the companies performing really well and the ones that are not performing very well. Another thing you should be very aware of is what countries are supported on the different crowdfunding platforms. So if you look at platforms like Seedrs, again, that's a good example, they support investments from all European countries. They support investments from some South American countries and some Asian countries, but they don't accept investments from US investors. So if your home market, if your next step of your growth will be in the US and you want US investors to come on board, or your customers are mainly from the US, you shouldn't go with a crowdfunding platform such as Seedrs. Another thing you want to be very aware of is the deal flow. How many deals pop up on the crowdfunding platform and how many succeed? You can do this tracking yourself. You just look at the start of the month to the end of the month, how many of all the cases out there, all the crowdfunding projects succeed, and how much do they overfund. That's an important note that you're going to be doing. So you're going to be doing your own research of the platforms that you are thinking about going ahead with. And the best way of doing this is just by looking. Advertisement is another very important point to consider when choosing the platform you want to do your crowdfunding on. A lot of the crowdfunding platforms out there promise you to advertise your campaign towards the investors. But how are they exactly going to do that? Are they going to send emails to the potential investors? How many emails are they sending out? You should be critical on this. You should ask the right questions to the person in charge of your campaign. Like, how many investors open up in average the emails? How many click-throughs? Questions like this will really tell if it's worth anything, because sometimes you have to pay for that advertisement. So you better make sure that all the marketing that this crowdfunding platforms offers you has real value and is invested wisely by you. What is the size of the investment community? A lot of the platforms are either local or very international. Some of the investment environment in there are very active. You want to ask yourself the question, do you want to fund your business on a very local one because your product are very local? Or do you want to do it on one that are very international? After that, you ask yourself, how many investors do you want to be promoted toward? So in some of the international crowdfunding platforms have more than, let's say, 500,000 investors. And some of the local ones have something like 1,000 investors on the platform. So I'm not saying that you should just go with the 500,000. You should think wisely about where does your product fit in. And the second follow-up question you should be asking is, of course, how many of these investors are active? So a question to ask the crowdfunding platform that you're about to choose is, how active are the investors? How many investors has made an investment within the last 60 days? So don't let yourself be fooled by big numbers. You should be very critical, and you should be asking your campaign leader of your crowdfunding project, how many active investors are there and how many of them have made an investment within the last 60 days. Commission is not the most important aspect of your due diligence, in my opinion, because it's more about the quality that you receive from the platform you choose to fundraise on. The normal rate for a crowdfunding project to pay in fees is usually around 6%. So obviously you shouldn't just accept blindfoldly that you're paying 10%. But I don't think you should care that much about 6, 5 or 4 or 7%. Doesn't really matter. It's much more about the quality and what is included, and does this crowdfunding platform match your criteria for how you're gonna raise money. So in summarizing this lesson, it's all about choosing the right crowdfunding platform for your project. So it might be that some projects are better off being local advertisement than in an international one, but it's all about choosing the right crowdfunding platform for your need.